Max again. Are you kidding?
Max, 200 big ones this week. It's been one hell of a journey for the big lanky kid back from Ormond. Yes. Did you think you'd ever get here?
You got told you could go off script a little bit. I'm not sure
I ran
about
with it.
tall and lanky, but
that's on here, mate.
It is tall and lanky's on there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what they think of you.
Okay. I don't reckon I was lanky because I was actually quite heavy.
Okay.
I just might have looked it. No, it's been a journey. 14 years. Most people in around my draft year are coming up 300. And yeah, even some guys that have drafted beyond me, like you're 3 years younger than me, and we're very close to 200 as well. So I had a bit of a slow start, but I wouldn't change the way I've done it. 50 odd VFL games, 2 knee recos, some absolute shocking darts on the way to training. I was late like 7 times in my first year. So I learned and grew up and come from a long way back, but yeah, I got there.
How many times did you make the group go down to Kerford Road for a 6 a.m. session?
I definitely had 2. I wasn't, the most infamous ones are when you're late to the Kerford Road.
Yeah.
And I did that once. So we all had to go down to Kerford Road at 6 a.m. and then I was late to the 6 a.m. Kerford Road session,
so
which meant the next day.
The team doubled up.
Yeah, the next day we had to do the both. That was bad.
We've come a long way since.
Yeah. How many times, you have a little Kerford Road?
Believe it or not, I did the same thing.
Okay.
I was late to a late session, but I'll blame it on someone else.
Okay. That's what the best leaders do.
Yeah. What do you think were the best lessons over your career to help you reach this milestone? Obviously, you spoke a bit about your early career. You went through a fair bit, injury, form, but to reach 200 games, you obviously learned some things along the journey.
I think anyone to get to a certain amount of games, you've got to know your body. And I think I learned a little bit about my body, obviously getting injured a lot, what I can do and what I can't do and what's smart Monday to Friday and what's not. So for a good period there from 2017 to pretty much still going, I haven't really missed too much footy. And I think it's from what I was installing myself in terms of behaviours. I train incredibly hard. It's always been something that I love doing. I love running. So I've got a good base and I feel like that's been able to hold up the course. And even when I was playing VFL, I was playing a lot of football. Wasn't really injured apart from the 2 knee recos, which took out a lot of time. So definitely that part. And then obviously I had to learn from some really good players. I had Mark Jamar, who was an All-Australian the year I got here. So what better person to learn from than the current best ruckman in the AFL at that point. And yeah, I saw Nick Nat-Nui's retiring. I saw he said the hardest person he played on was Dean Cox at training. Pretty similar story here. The hardest person I played on was Mark Jamar for a pre-season because he did not let me win a hit out for almost 4 or 5 years. I'm trying to do the same with like Will Verrill now, but I can't. He just gets a little hit out every now and then. But he made me learn the hard way, and that could be another reason why I've been able to hold up.
What about your leadership? I think you've come a long way in your leadership as well. What do you think the lessons you've learnt from the start of your career to now being a premiership captain of the club?
First of all, there's the on-field component, which you're unbelievable at. But I feel like I said before with my training, I feel like I lead from the front of my training. And Goody and I spoke early on in the captaincy about like what do you want the legacy to be. And to be fair, this is nowhere near mine and Goody's legacy. It's probably more Nathan Jones, but the way we train. And you probably agree with the way Nathan Jones trained. And that's something that I was pretty keen to keep going. And I feel like we are still, it's our competitive advantage in the way we train. But then certainly I was, as a young kid, always battling to be Max Gawn. Like I was getting told to be a different person from so many different avenues here in the football club. And now when I'm at the other end, being the best version of myself, I feel like I can lead that way, and I can hope Jake Bowie comes in Jeffo comes in, Ollie Seston comes in, and these guys can be themselves a lot quicker than what it took me. That's certainly one thing that I feel like I've improved on from day one to I shouldn't have said day one because I don't know what day I'm up to. Let's say day 4007.
You're a dad now to Georgie boy. How has being a father changed your perspective on footy?
Not as much as people think. Like I do hear that line come out a lot from fathers. I still feel like, and Jess as well, we still want to be the best versions of ourselves while having a baby. So I feel like I'm still a very similar person. And Jess and I both take time for ourselves at different points to make sure that we're living our best lives. But we've also got a little beautiful boy as well. We have another one coming that needs a fair bit of time. So certainly the smile that you get post the game is pretty cool. Like George doesn't know that you just humiliated yourself on the MCG, lost by 40 points, dropped 4 marks. He doesn't have any idea. He also has no idea that you just got off a red-eye flight and you've had no sleep. So there's some good things and bad things, but certainly the smile you get post game is pretty cool.
What are some of your favourite memories from your 200 games?
I mean, apart from meeting you, Jack.
That's number one, obviously.
In terms of games of football, there's been some pretty incredible ones. The Queen's birthday games always stand out. But the finals campaign in 2018, I think, for both of us, that's my 9th year or 10th year of football, and I was sitting there not playing finals, watching a lot of other teams play finals, almost booking in Bali before the season's even finished for that little period. And then to be able to play in front of 2 packed out MCGs against rivals, what we think were rivals. I'm not sure if Geelong and Hawthorn think that, but against 2 big powerhouses of that era, that was pretty incredible. And then to do it all again in 2021, obviously every game in that finals campaign, just like to play that Geelong game and kick the winning goal after the siren, to then get trumped because you played Brisbane in the qualifying final, win that, and then the prelim, and then the granny. So you played 4 unbelievable games of football, which was pretty cool. But the 2018 finals run was probably the highlight.
Yeah.
Apart from obviously the flag.
Yeah. Heading back a little bit. So
Sweet.
You've obviously been some tough times early in your career. Doing 2 knees is quite unique. A lot of people do 2 knees and they probably can never come back from that, but you did, and you went from strength to strength. Now, how did you push through those massive injuries?
I mean, I feel for anyone that has big injuries later on in their career. I feel like that would be a lot harder to manage. I was a young guy. The one main thing was I had to grow up really quickly. I was an 18, 19-year-old that got dealt with a pretty big injury. And I had to grow up to be an adult very, very quickly. Well, that's what I felt like I had to. The stuff like the gym and the running and the mundane stuff, the simple thing that got me through that was if I wasn't playing football, I'd be paying $40 a month to be a fitness first. Sorry, I'm probably way uneducated there. It's probably a lot more than $40 a month. I've never had a gym membership. To go at 6 a.m. before I work to go do the exact same workout. Here I get to do it in the best facilities next to Liam Jarrah, Mitch Clark, Ozzy Woonamiri, some pretty big names in the football club. And do something I like doing, like riding and weights. And so that sort of got me through the long period. Knee recos, I mean, you've never had one, but the last 6 months is very boring. It's the same thing for 6 months. And then that's just something like that just got me through, like the fact that I'd be doing this anyway and I'm getting paid to do it. Not a hell of a lot back then in my first year, and then as you're young, you're always aspiring. You always hope that you can be this person, be the guy who ends up playing 200 games, and that's a little bit of a drive you can have during it.
You're a premiership captain of the Melbourne Football Club. Would you say that's one of your proudest achievements?
Yes, certainly from a football point of view. I mean, I've got multiple little things that what we were just talking about, to be able to come back from 2 knee recos is something that I hold really close to myself. Being a father is something that's obviously very, very cool. You're way up what is the best moment of your life. But for me, it happened 3 weeks apart. I became a father and won a flag 3 weeks apart. If you ask Jess, it's probably a different answer. She probably says George is the best thing that's happened, but she's never won a flag, so the flag's pretty cool. But yeah, those two are.
We'll say it was your favourite 3 weeks of your life.
It was a great 3 weeks, and yeah, to be able to hold the cup, albeit in Perth, that's added inspiration to do it again, to feel how cool it was, and I'm sure you're the same. Like, I got to experience something very, very unique and cool over there in Perth, but none of my loved ones did. And it has been a driving force. I know this isn't the question, but I'll go on to it. That, like, Jess' mum and dad have been there for, like, the humiliating 50-point losses, 60-point losses, knee recos. They've been there for, like, some of the serious lows, and they weren't there for, like, the best high of my career. So that has been, to be fair, it was a driver last year, and we failed, but hopefully that'll be a fun time for them last day of September.
Will you be chaired off the ground? And if so, who's going to be able to get you up?
It's not a massive bucket list item for me to be chaired off. I understand I'm not going to be that guy who turns it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly I'd read the room. If unfortunately the worst happens and we lose, I would read the room and hopefully try and stay down.
Win or loss, you're getting chaired off, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm also aware that 200 is not that big in today's day and age. Like 300 is getting knocked off almost every second week.
Don't undersell yourself, Max.
Thank you.
200 is a massive achievement, mate.
Thank you. And Nibbler's 150, we've got to cheer him off. So, no, look, I wouldn't be chasing it. If there was someone, obviously you probably have to go some strong boys. So, yourself and Charlie Spargo.
I'm too short.
You and
the
Spargs.
mismatch of height is going to
You and Spargs will be great.
Going to cause some issues. So
Spargs and Cozzy.
maybe we get Maisie and one of the other big boys there. Besides myself, of course, who are some
Is
of
that in there?
No. This is my
don't
my own twist to it favour. Who are some of your favourite demons along your journey?
I get asked this a little bit. We've obviously got 3 once-in-a-generation midfielders currently playing for the football club. So that's pretty cool. Like yourself, Clary, and Track. And Clary's going to go on to all sorts of records in terms of best and fairest and all Australians and whatnot. So those 3. But if you go back to like Liam Jara, the talent Liam Jara was, and the personality and the character that he was an incredible 2 years to be with him. Unfortunately passed away, but Colin Sylvia was a genuine talent. Mitch Clark. So there was some real, and I mean the 300-game superstar himself in Nathan Jones. So I've been lucky to play with some pretty good Ds. Brad Green, Cameron Bruce, James McDonald. But I think this current crop that we have, probably selling Angus Brayshaw a tad short to not be in that group of 3, but yourself, Clayton, and Christian are pretty special.
I appreciate you squeezing me in there with those.
I don't normally. It's just because you're in the room.
Yeah, I know. I completely see that. Max, obviously, a few more weeks to go, mate. Plenty more to achieve, but I'm looking forward to once we get the job done.
What do you got?
Cracking open a couple of bottles of 78-degree gin with you.
Well, there's nothing more I love.
Tasty. You and me are on the bottle, so it has to be good.
Gin. Okay, I can do gin. Gin, especially with Clary on it. You miss Clary.
Yeah.
A once-in-a-generation midfielder.
Kate Hoare as well, star.
And Kate Hoare. Thank you. And crack it open.